What? Thank you, Elvira, for the recording. Welcome for another session of advanced webinars. For those of you who attended last week, we talked about how to create content that engages people. And this week, we're going to build a little bit on that, but using advertising as well. So how to use advertising so you can grow your business. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, this session is going to be somehow technical. So in case you have any question or you feel like I've completely missed, you have a different understanding or you don't know what really I'm talking about. So please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions just so that I have an idea of that we're at least all moving at the same pace. I'm going to start with sharing my screen. The webinar is going to be about an hour, maybe 15 minutes. Then you have also time to ask additional questions towards the end. So don't worry. Well, hopefully we'll make it and it's not going to be very complicated. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me know if it's clear. Okay. Okay, so what we will cover today is basically we will start with understanding how the Facebook, when I say Facebook and Instagram, the ads manager is for both Facebook and Instagram, there is no difference. So how the ads manager bidding auction works. This is important for us to be able to get our ads correctly set up and at the same time to really go after the audience that we want. Second thing we will do, and because I get this as a question a lot, is what are the differences between boosting from the page directly versus boosting from Ads Manager. We will also discuss the Ads Manager structure, so how you structure your campaign. And we will do a little bit like the content session last week in terms of what advertising objectives we want to use depending on the steps of the funnel. So remember, we had awareness, consideration, conversion. So Ads Manager is set up the same way, and it helps us use the ads objective that align with the customer funnel. The last two parts are, this is where it gets a little bit more advanced, but then we can, after the session is done, we can discover the Ads Manager together and I'll show you exactly where everything is. We will talk about custom audiences and lookalike audiences and how you can use them to grow your business. And we'll have a brief introduction on A/B testing and why you want to use it also on Facebook and Instagram. So the way a Facebook auction works is that whenever you launch an ad on Facebook, Facebook goes and sees who other people are bidding for the same audience. Let's say you are targeting, I don't know, girls between the age 18 and 25 living in Lebanon, okay? Most likely there are other people who are targeting for the same audience as you are. So Facebook in that auction decides whether they show your ad or another person's ad. You know, when you go to your Facebook news feed, there's limited places where you have ads. Of course, they cannot put the whole Facebook page as ads, because then people will lose this interest in scrolling on Facebook, because at the end of the day, they're here just to connect with their friends, family, or to see what's happening around the world. So Facebook has a system where they use Facebook has a system that decides who gets to show their ads to which audience and also on which placement. So they have different, so how do they do that? They have three main criteria to decide whether they show your ad or your competitor's ad, okay? First thing is the advertiser bid, meaning how much are you willing to pay for that ad? We're going to talk about it in a little bit of details as well. So don't worry about this. The second thing is the estimated action rates. The third is the user value. They do all of this calculation and they come up with something called the total value. Now you will notice that point 1 and 2 focus primarily on the advertiser value. So you as a business, when you want to put your ad there, you want to see a value from the ad, or else you will stop promoting or using Facebook to try and find your ideal customers. And the third one really focuses on the consumer experience, because remember, Facebook at the end of the day, without you as businesses, they will not be able, this is how they make money at the end of the day. So they want to keep you happy as a business, but they also want to keep the consumer, the one who is actually using Facebook, happy as well. So this way they balance to a certain extent to try to keep both group of people happy. So how does it work? So you have the advertiser bit. So this is when you say how much you are willing to pay for your campaign objective. Let's say you want to increase engagement, for example, on your page. How much are you willing to pay per comment or per like or per share? Usually, we recommend for beginners to not change this. Whenever you set up your campaigns, you have automatically set up as the highest value or the lowest cost. There are other types of bid. This is usually only used by advanced advertiser. But just as long as you understand that when you select the highest value or lowest cost, it is Facebook responsibility to make sure you get the value from the budget that you're spending on Facebook. Or else it's a different ball game altogether. So the first criteria is the bid. The second criteria is the estimated action rates, meaning, you know, Facebook, they gather a lot of data and they use this data to find out the probability that someone has of engaging with your ad, depending on, for example, these people's user behavior, if they watch a lot of videos, if they usually engage with that specific type of ads or not. So based on that, they have a way of estimating how likely your audience is to take that specific action. Okay, so it's important. This actually highlights why it is important for you to target the right audience for your ad. The more precise you are, the more knowledge you have about your ideal customer or the people who usually buy from you, the better you can improve or actually reduce the cost of your ads. This also refers back to what we've done last week in terms of doing the audience persona and the customer empathy map, because this helps you as well, of course, sell more, but at the same time, decrease the cost of your ads and deliver better ads. The third point is the user value, or what translates for you as an advertiser is the ad quality. So the ad quality is determined by a number of factors. Basically, Facebook summarizes them under two criteria, which is negative feedback and the content of your ads and landing pages. The negative feedback, sometimes probably that happened to you as well. You get annoyed by a specific type of ad or a specific brand that is really targeting you, or you're seeing the ad so many times that you have this, you're overwhelmed and you just completely don't want to see it anymore. So people usually, you think that they don't do this, but a lot of people do that. You have the ability to hide specific ads that you don't want to see, whether it's because it's not relevant or whether, for example, they've bombarded you with the same ad and you're just fed up. So you can do that. But this, when you do that, of course, as a user, it increases the ad cost for the brand that is doing this ad, and they will also affect your account reputation. So these two things are very important for you to get right. It also goes back to the audience. If you're targeting someone who's not relevant and they just didn't want to see that, also they could either hide it or report it. So when we say quality content, or translate to bad user value, is sometimes when you withhold information in the copy. Let's say you tell them, okay, click here to find out something where it's very important, and you send them directly to your website. This is also the same. You create the sensationalism so that they click, and it's also engagement based. but it could be a lot of things as well. It could be that you have the copy on the image is too big, or there's a lot of text on the image. That also qualifies as low quality content, and this automatically, the reach of these ads are decreased by Facebook automatically. Also, if the image is very, there's a lot of colors, all of these somehow affect the ad quality as well. Now, this is when it comes to low quality content. When it comes to low quality landing pages, let's say sometimes you're running a traffic campaign and you're sending links back to your website. If they land on your website and the experience on that website is not up to the level, this will also be reported as low quality. So that could be that your landing page has a high bounce rate. High bounce rate is when people land on the website and leave immediately without doing anything. That's called a high bounce. That's the definition of a bounce rate. If your content on the landing page or on the home page or on your website has no original content, if you're copying content from somewhere else, of course, that's also low quality. If you have a lot of pop-ups on the website, if the experience overall is overwhelming, and if sometimes you are promoting something in your ad and you're sending the traffic to something completely not related to the ad itself, so that can be actually severely penalized by Facebook. So all of this will help you really improve your ads and as well your ad quality. Now, Facebook will tell you if your quality is, if your ad quality is low, you'll get a notification. But if it goes unadjusted, then as well, you will have a lot more things to deal with. And sometimes that will also block your advertising account. So just to recap quickly, what we can do as advertisers is most important is to really focus on the right target audience. On setting up the campaign, we'll see how to do that correctly, depending on what you're trying to achieve as objective, and really creating an ad experience and a website experience that people will actually appreciate. So remember a couple of things. Facebook wants both parties to be happy, the users and the advertiser. It's not the highest bid that actually wins the auction. There are many other things that come into place, and yeah, you can compete with big brands if you do your advertising correctly. Focus on targeting the correct audience and setting up your campaigns based on these objectives, based on what you want to achieve from these ads, and focus on creating ads, content, and that people. I get asked a lot, what is basically the difference between using Ads Manager as opposed to boosting directly from the page? I've put some points here, but I think as we go through the presentation today, you will see how much a level of targeting and sophistication you can do with Ads Manager. And trust me, it's not more complicated. It's just once you know how it works, it runs very easy. And it's actually quite interesting to see all of the options that you have as well. So Ads Manager allows you to run more sophisticated ads across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, all of these. And they have also the Audience Network, which is a group of websites that have a deal with Facebook to show your ads or specific ads outside of Facebook. So this is interesting because you get to reach people outside of these platforms specifically as well. It is one tool that allows you to create ads, manage them, see where they will run, and track how well they perform. Usually, many people, or many at least small businesses or entrepreneurs that really run their ads, but they don't really look back at the performance. And even if they do, they just do not compare, or at least try to see why is it costing that much? How can I improve it? And this is very important for you to know if you're doing your ads correctly or not. It's not only just about the number of sales, actually depending on what the objective is for your ad. It allows you to track what campaigns are performing best and adjust or scale your budget to achieve your goals. Let's say you have a specific goals to get 100 sales that month. Okay, If you're at 50, if it's costing you, each sale is costing you $1 and you're almost spent with the advertising budget. If you increase your budget, you'll actually reach the number of sales that you want, or if you decrease the cost of the campaign, you actually also get to the goal that you want. Just being able to track this and adjusting will help you really outperform your previous campaigns as well. Ads Manager is for advertiser of every experience level to use, and I hope I'll convince you of that at the end of this webinar today. So how does it work? So once you boost directly from the page, you have all of the setup that you do in one shot. I will show you how it works differently on Ads Manager. So this is how the ads are typically set up. You have 3 levels. This is called the campaign structure. You have the campaign, you have ad sets, and you have ads. Under each campaign, you can have more than one ad set, and under each ad set, you can have more than one ad. Let me explain to you the actual differences between them. At the campaign level, you choose the objective for your ad. Now, for us, objective of your ad is equal to the business goal that you want. So if you're running a conversion campaign, you will not be measuring the number of comments on the post. You will be measuring how much conversions you got from this campaign. Because usually people run engagement ads where they want people to like, comment, and share, and they come to me and tell me, okay, but this did not increase my sales. Well, this is normal. You are asking Facebook to find people who typically, remember when we said estimated action rates, you're asking them to go and find people who usually engage with content, not people who actually buy this type of product. So it's completely different. So for example, if you want to increase traffic to your website, there is a specific type of campaign objective that's called traffic. Or if you want people to engage with your post, that would be something else called engagement. So as long as your objective and your business goals are aligned, you have set up the campaign level correctly. So again, there are 3 categories of objectives: awareness, consideration, and conversion. I'll show you specifically what each one offers as well on Ads Manager. At the ad set level, again, ad set level is nested under a campaign, so you cannot run an ad set without having a specific objective in the beginning. At the ad set level, this is where you set up your targeting strategy. So who do you want to reach? Who is the audience? The placement, where your ads will be running. So on Facebook, on Instagram, on Messenger, so on and so forth. The budget that you have set up for this campaign, and the scheduling. Because you can set up a daily budget or a lifetime budget. Daily budget, you would tell Facebook, I want to spend $5 per day, or I want to spend $300 for 2 months. This is where the scheduling, you'll tell them when the ad starts and when the ad finishes. So also you can have more than one ad set under each campaign, and this is very important for you to think about segmenting audiences. So you can have a different audience for each ad set, and you can have a different visual for each ad set. This is where you really go in depth and try to do specific messages that resonate with a specific audience. The point is, for those of you who were there last week, is to really use creative or messages or actually content that resonates with your target audience. You can do this by segmenting. You can decide to segment by, I don't know, gender. You can decide to segment by audience persona, by location, by different things, depending on what type of business and what type of audience you have. So it looks something like this. This is where you set up the daily budget, or you can change this one here and have it as a lifetime budget. You have the start date and end date of the campaign, and you can go also into the hours depending on if this is a specific campaign related to a sale, for example. Now, usually people ask me if it's better to boost posts individually, even if you do it through the Ads Manager, or if to run a campaign that has a longer duration of time. So instead of boosting each post on its own. You have a campaign that runs for the whole month, and you change the post that is boosted every time you have a new one. Now, the thing is with Ads Manager, when you have longer duration of campaigns, Facebook gets to learn what is working and what is not, who is the audience who's engaging and who is completely not responsive to your ad. So they can optimize with time. So if you run campaign before on the Ads Manager, you see that sometimes they'll put something as that it's learning. This is the learning phase of the campaign, because Facebook is learning who is responding to your ads, and then they start doing optimization based on that. So if it is possible and you have an already set up budget, I would recommend that you do a 2-week at least or a month campaign every now and then, so that you utilize this optimization and this learning methodology that Facebook algorithm has. So also you can do automatic placement or manual placement. Automatic placement that Facebook automatically decides where to put your ads, and as well learns from the results. If they're not, the audience is not responding on Instagram, then automatically they will allocate more budget for Facebook if they are seeing better results there. That's why I tell you it looks a little bit complicated, but a lot of things are already automated by Facebook automatically. Now, sometimes I would use manual placements for the simple reason that I want to run different messages on Facebook and Instagram, because you can imagine that your audience is different on Facebook than on Instagram. You have different users, different behaviors, or sometimes I want to just customize the visual for each platform. So that would be something to do. Now, if you do automatic placement and you use Instagram as a placement, there's something that also happens often, because I get asked this question a lot, is that you're not boosting the Instagram post from Instagram. You're boosting the Facebook post that is showing on Instagram. So if someone sees your Instagram account, they will see unboosted post, but you would be reaching people on Instagram. So usually whenever I have a separate campaign for Instagram, I split them so that I do manual placement, so I can specifically boost the Instagram post directly from the account. The third level is the ad level. This is where you actually put the creative elements of your ad. So the copy, the text that comes above the image, the photo or video, or could be, you have different formats as well, and the call to action. The call to action, depending on the type of objective you selected at the campaign level, you have specific call to action that you can use. Either learn more, buy now, watch more if it's a video, and things like that. So it's good also to use to leverage a call to action, because if people a campaign and you had watch more or learn more, and people clicked on it and went to your website, this means that they have moved from a level to a more committed level towards your brand. So they've seen the video that could be an awareness level, and they move to the website, and this is where it becomes a consideration level. So you can also have multiple ads within a single ad set to be able to test the different various formats. We will see that a little bit in the A/B testing at the end of the session. So how can Ads Manager really help us achieve our goals, whatever our business goals are? We need to first identify what we want to do from this campaign. What is the main objective? It could be something ongoing, like we want to engage people constantly to keep the brand top of mind, or we have a specific offer or specific campaign for Black Friday, Christmas, and so on. So the goals help you focus and track the progress over time. Let's say I ran this campaign this year, and then next year I did the same campaign, or I had the same Black Friday event, and I want to see if I was able to get better results this time than last time. The goals also will vary based on the size and stage of your business. You don't have to consider all of them, but there are some that would be interesting, very interesting for specific e-commerce website. Goals aren't expressed as revenue or profit. So when you're setting up your goals, do not think of it as in a way that I want to return, I don't know, $1,000 this month. You need to think about it depending on what is the objective from the campaign. If you're doing, for example, conversion, which is related to revenue and profit, you want to track conversions, the number of conversions, not how much gross sales you had at the end of the campaign. So your goal also could be a more intermediate step, like, for example, increasing brand awareness or generating leads. So they're not actually, you're not selling anything at this point, but you're just building your funnel. You're increasing people who are aware of your brand or generating leads that you can turn into customers later. So again, this is, I'm pretty sure everyone knows that goals are supposed to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, just for you to be able to, what we call SMART, to make sure that, to compare if you're actually reaching your goals or not at the end of the campaign. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an example, just so you can see how it translates into business objectives. So the different ad types into the business objectives. So let's say we have a restaurant that's called Little Lemon, and they launched a new online delivery service for their food. So we have Tarisha, she's a marketing specialist, and she's responsible for promoting the new online delivery service. She has a goal of increasing the number of visits to Little Lemon's website by 1,000 visits this month. Okay, so that's measurable, that's also time bound, and it aligns with their business objectives. So we've talked about the fact that we have three objectives categories under Ads Manager. You have the awareness, which usually these are the types. You have different ads underneath. We'll see them in detail in a bit. The first one would be to generate interest in your business product or service. So this is an awareness level, interest, or it doesn't relate to sales, it doesn't relate to engagement, it just relates to awareness. The second one, the second type is consideration. This is where you encourage people to learn about what your business offers. And the third one is conversion. So this is where you encourage people who are interested in your business to purchase or use your business or service. We will see all of them in details. So awareness ad. You have two types of awareness ads objectives, sorry. Either increasing brand awareness or focusing on reach. When we talk about brand awareness, now, for example, let's say Coca-Cola. Even Coca-Cola, who has, I don't know if it's measurable, a high level of brand awareness, they keep on doing brand awareness campaigns because they have competitors, because this is how they keep, there's always new people who have not tried Coca-Cola before, but always the main point from their campaigns is to keep the brand top of mind, meaning the first thing you think about whenever you hear that sound that does psh, is Coca-Cola, or even the very well-known sound of the bottle being poured into a glass. So this is very typical of Coca-Cola because they have built so much brand awareness over time. So the reason why I am emphasizing on this a lot is that people tend to disregard brand awareness and focus on things that are more tangible to them. For example, like number of followers and number of comments and engagement, or even sales. Brand awareness, because it's at the top of the funnel, is very important for you to keep in mind. The second one is reach. Sometimes, depending on the type of ads you have or whatever you are promoting, let's say you have a limited time offer and you want to focus on this message reaching the highest number of people during that period of time. So you can use this type of ad reach to show your ad to as many people as possible in the target audience that you have. Now, there are other uses as well, but this is like the most relevant that could really explain why would someone use reach. Also, reach is somehow related to brand awareness. For you to be able to create brand awareness, you need to have targeted the big piece of your population, a big amount of your population, so that you have brand awareness. You can have brand awareness on an individual or small group level, but as you grow as a business, you want to have a more global brand awareness. Now, the type of consideration ads are usually the ones that we use the most because they're easier to understand. So you have the traffic. You can send people from Facebook to a specific URL. For example, it could be a website, it could be a landing page, it could be a blog post or an app, or you can send them to Messenger as well. Engagement is when you want people to engage with your posts. Remember, when we set up engagement, Facebook will go and look and find people who are more likely to engage, because there are a lot of people who open Facebook, and it's becoming more and more common, who open Facebook and really just scroll on their phones and really rarely engage with ads or rarely engage with the type of business that you have. So once you specifically say engagement, it will find people that are more engaged. Sometimes, because that happens a lot whenever you're starting with ads as well, is that you'll get a lot of comments that look like spam. The only reason is that these are the people who usually engage a lot. But again, if you remember when I said that if you have a month duration, or this only happens when you start with Ads Manager in the beginning. But once you start becoming more and more active in promotions, Facebook gets to learn from previous ads you run, and they get to understand what works for your business and what doesn't. So it will get better in terms of getting good quality comments from people with time. So you can create ads as well that encourage page likes, event responses if you have an event on Facebook, or offer claims. Now, I'm anticipating this as a question, so I'm just going to answer it now. There is really no added advantage of you running page likes ads at this, at least right now, anymore. It used to be quite common before. We used to have campaigns running for page likes very often, but that used to be when we had a higher organic reach automatically on Facebook. That means that before, you used to post something on your page and everyone, or 80 or 90% of your audience, will see it on your newsfeed. Now, when that's why we used to increase page likes, because that meant at the time that more people who are interested in our page will see the content. Now, what has happened, other than the fact that organic reach has decreased and it's continually going down, where I think at 0.01% of your followers will see the content. Again, depending on if it resonates with them. So if you post it and people start to engage with it, especially on Instagram in the beginning, it will increase the organic reach of the ad. But not only the reach has decreased, but also people as behavior stopped liking pages. So you like content, you will not like a page or follow a page anymore. It's happening less and less. So it's somehow pointless to do that right now. I don't see it changing anytime soon. So yeah, you can also, if you have an app, if you have an app, to run app installs, so to send people to the App Store, both app stores, to download the app. You have video views. So The difference between when you're running engagement campaigns and video views is that the type of engagement here is different. Meaning people will, Facebook will find people who usually watch a lot of videos on Facebook that are interested in your brand as well. So this is very important for you to understand. But also, video views ads are one of the cheapest in my experience at the time being on Facebook. And on Instagram, that they are a little bit more expensive, but they're still cheaper than the regular type of ads. So really utilize video view ads as much as possible. Even if you don't have videos, you can create, I forgot the name, slideshows. Yeah, you can create slideshows on Facebook when you upload different images, and you can animate them very easily. So this will help you utilize this type of ads and really engage your audience better, because people are consuming more and more videos these days. But you can also use something very simple. As you've seen, I use it a lot, like Canva, for you to do very simple videos or GIFs that would work very well. You have lead generation ads. Now, lead generation ads are typically used by brands that sell something that are a little bit more expensive. It could be, for example, you're selling cars or you're selling real estate, but I've seen many smaller businesses to use it to generate leads or to have signups for newsletters or things like that. So what happens with the lead generation ads is that automatically within Facebook, a form opens, so you don't have to send them to a website. A form opens, and then people will fill the information that you have asked to. And whatever information is publicly available on Facebook, it will be auto-filled, which means that it would take less time for people to complete lead generation forms. That's why they perform very well as well on Facebook. The final one for the consideration level is messages. So you can connect with people on Messenger, on Instagram Direct, and WhatsApp, so they can communicate directly to your accounts. You can communicate with potential or existing customers to encourage interest in a business. So that could work very well as well if you have something that's customizable, or if you would like to engage or connect with your customers. The third category of ads is the conversion ads. So you have three types: conversions, catalog sales, and store traffic. Now, store traffic is when you have an actual physical location. Okay, this works well because it targets people who are nearby, physically nearby. So actually, this one is very interesting. It could work, but in Lebanon, the issue is that the country is so small that the whole country would be considered nearby, or at least like a big part of it. So I've never used it for brands that are in Lebanon, but if someone has, maybe they could share their experience with us. We have conversions, so I will go back to the first one. This is where you encourage people to take a specific action on your site, such as, for example, adding to cart, downloading an app, registering for a site, or even making a purchase. Okay, remember when we said that the ad objective is specifically defined as your business goal? Why? Because again, Facebook goes and finds people who are really ready to have or convert usually on that type of ad, or actually buy this product quite often. So understanding what you want to achieve from this ad specifically, everyone wants to convert and make a purchase, but remember that these are, if you're targeting people that don't know you, that never heard of you, your likelihood of being able to have conversions from this type of ad is low. You need to take people throughout the different levels of the funnel. So you create awareness, you engage with them, and then you run conversion ads. We'll talk about some example of conversion ads and how they work. Now, something is very interesting and could be very relevant to you are catalog sales. Now, catalog sales is what we call, in other words, dynamic ads. So if you have an e-commerce store and you have a catalog of product, Facebook automatically shows your audience all of the products that might be relevant to them. So you create these dynamic ads, which are targeted specifically depending on, for example, if they went to the website and checked a product, then they would get an ad that shows them exactly that product on Facebook later. Now, instead of doing this for every product that you have, catalog sales automatically does all of this optimization and all of this tracking automatically. So this is very important, but it requires a little bit of setup in the beginning, and will for setup for you to add the products, the images, the prices, and everything else. Now let's go back to Tarisha and her Little Lemon restaurant. So one example I'm showing you here is an awareness ad. So as we said, she wants to promote Little Lemon to people who are not familiar with the restaurant, instead of in the beginning automatically sending them to the website and the new online menu. She went with traditional with the correct approach of having awareness in the beginning. So she selects reach to try and maximize the people that she reaches with her budget. So she shows an ad that showcases the restaurant story, the most popular dishes, to that new unfamiliar audience. That's an example of awareness. For consideration, she wants to get people to sign up to Little Lemon's email newsletter, which is sent quite regularly as well. You have tutorials for easy cooking from the chef. This way, after they've reached a certain level of awareness, they've received the emails, they have you're constantly trying to make them remember Little Lemon. So when they're ready to order delivery, for example, they would think of you as well. So for this type of ads, Tarisha selected the lead generation ad I told you about earlier, for her to be able to get the names and emails of her of the people who are interested in that newsletter. So you see at the bottom of the image, you have enjoy weekly emails from us and a sign up button that opens automatically within the Facebook application. And this is very, because before we used to do lead generation by sending them to a landing page and getting them to complete the form there. It worked very well, but this way, while it loads faster, information is automatically completed on Facebook if it's publicly available. So you have less chances of people dropping and higher chances of them completing the form. And the last example is the conversion type of ads that is specifically related to the online ordering. She selected a conversion objective to get people to see the menu. She includes a discount code with a call to action button that is see menu. Now there are a limited type of options for the buttons, but usually you will always find something that works for you. And she's sending the traffic to Little Lemon's website. So that covers the second part. They look a little bit different than I mentioned in the beginning of the session because I've compiled them together. So what I want you to remember from this part is you have a lot more options for advertising with Ad Manager than you have with boosting directly from the page. The campaign structure is divided between campaigns, ad set, and ad. Now you don't have to remember specifically the names because it's an automated process when you create the ads, when you create the campaigns, but just know that, for example, at the ad set level, This is where you have your targeting. This is where you have a replacement. This is where you have the budget. And at the ad level, this is where you have the creatives and the copy and the call to action. Now, you can have multiple ad sets per campaign to segment your audiences, or to, for example, divide different placement. And you can have multiple ads per ad set to try different creatives or different messages. Remember to choose an advertising goal that aligns with your business objective, and keep in mind that you have different ad objectives based on the level of the funnel that you're targeting. Sorry. Okay. Now, something is very, very important. I find it extremely useful and undervalued by businesses is the different Facebook audiences. Usually, when you launch a campaign and you set up your audience, you are only working with core audiences. Now, there are two types of audiences that are very useful and very important: the custom audiences and the lookalike audiences. So the core audiences, this is when you set up manually based on characteristics like age, location, interest, and everything else. The custom audiences is when, for example, you upload your contact list to connect with your customer on Facebook. Let's say you have a shop, or you have a list of or a physical shop or an e-shop. You have the list of the customers with their names and emails. You upload them to Facebook, and Facebook will target these people, will try and find them, of course, if they have a Facebook or Instagram account or Messenger or WhatsApp, which kind of covers everything. They will try to find them, and you can set up campaigns specifically targeting these custom audiences. We'll look into other options as well, but this is very interesting to use. And it allows you to create lookalike audiences. Now, imagine you have a list of your customers. You upload it to Facebook and you create a custom audience. You can then set up lookalike audiences where Facebook goes and finds people who look like your customers. And this, it's just a way of finding just people exactly in terms of the demographics, of their behaviors, their interests, their lifestyle that are exactly similar to your customers. We'll go into a little bit more details. So I know you use core audiences the most often, so I wanted to add a little bit of tips to make you, because also these are very common questions. So usually we tend to forget that in core audiences, we can include and exclude people in your targeting, and I'll show you an example in the next slide. So this helps you focus and really zone in and find the specific audiences that you're looking for. You can also use location targeting. There are 3 types of location targeting. You have live in a location, were recently in a location, or are traveling in a location. So this could be relevant for some businesses differently, but most usually people use live in a location. The third one is the fact that I want you to keep in mind that targeting, whenever you have the interest targeting and everything you put on in core audiences, is taken from information that people share publicly on Facebook. So for example, if you want to target doctors, but for example, that could be something that people do, that they do not post on Facebook what they do for work. So Facebook cannot assume that this is within your target audience. So just keep in mind that this is just basically whatever they have added to Facebook. Now, of course, when you set up your profile, you have a couple of things that you add, but that's not only specific to that. If they follow specific pages, if they engage with specific content, it tells Facebook that they are interested in that topic. I mean, if these people are not active on Facebook and they do not do a lot of things, then Facebook do not have a lot of information on them to be able to find them for. So just keep this in mind. Now, when for language targeting, usually we don't use language targeting except if you're targeting, if it's not the primary language spoken in the location you are targeting. Let's say you're running campaigns in China and the ads that you have are in English. So this is when you would add living in China and language English. Or else, if you're running ads in Chinese, then just keep it, do not add anything in the language section. So remember, I've told you that you can include and exclude people in your targeting. I wanted to show you an example where that would make sense. So when you put your targeting, when you put two interests under, so include people who match at least one of the following. So it's family-based household or dog owner. So let's say you're selling dog product, dog related or pets product, then you might be targeting people who are families, but who do not have a dog. And this is quite a waste of budget and time. And yeah, it just, it will result in campaigns that are not very successful. But if you use the option to narrow your audience, you will have then at least match at least one of the following, or must also match at least one of the following, and exclude people who do not do not want to reach. So that would become include people who are dog owners and must also match family-based households. So these are families with dogs, but exclude people who are unemployed, but because these people, I don't know, if the products are very expensive, they would not be able to afford the products. So this really helps you go in and zone in on really the audience that you want to reach. So just keep this in mind. Include one of the following and must also match another one. You don't have to always add narrow, but sometimes you can have this depending on, it's quite specific. In that case, I'm not sure why they added unemployed. I would have done, for example, a family-based household. If I'm selling a vacation or a family vacation, I would add unemployed, but I'm not sure what kind of products they're selling here. So that's for core audiences. Now for custom audiences, remember we've said you can upload or use upload a list of customers. So you can use customer list as I've said. You can have lists from your website or app traffic. Not this is not list. You will not upload something, but you will connect Facebook Ads Manager to your website, and they can track whoever is visiting your website with, for example, did not complete the purchase. Then you can use it as retargeting. So people who went to your website can be retargeted again. But this is something that is very interesting, and I use it very often, is that you can also target to people who have engaged on Facebook. Engage on Facebook with your brand, or on Instagram with your brand. That means that this engagement, you can nurture it so that becomes a customer, or people who usually tend to engage with your content, or people who are at the middle level of the funnel, so at the consideration stage, and you can turn these into customers. So let's look at, I'll show you in a bit the different types and details. But for you to be able to do that, as I said, you need to connect Ads Manager to the Facebook pixel, to your website. So this is where you install a Facebook pixel. It's a little piece of code that lets your website communicate with Facebook, and will be able to tell you if these ads are increasing sales, if you can track conversions, if this ad resulted in a sale on your website. And you can use it also to target custom audiences who have visited your website and, for example, did not complete the purchase. You can retarget to them as well. This is very easy to do. I mean, usually this is the only time where you would use a developer, but even if you're a little bit yeah, you understand a little bit of back end, front end, you can just copy paste it Facebook has a tutorial on how to do it, depending on if you're using WordPress or Shopify. Or if you're using Shopify, it's very simple. You can just like Google Analytics, just copy a code and just install it. So before you use custom audiences or conversion ads or all of this, you need to have the Facebook pixel set up. Now, I've told you can use custom audiences, but here we'll go in a little bit of details in terms of what are the sources for the custom audiences. So you can have a website, so link your website, and people who visit your website, they can become part of that custom audience. App activity, customer list. This is if you have an Excel sheet or a list of customers from your points of sale, or from if you collected phones and phone number, names and phone numbers from an event or something, you can upload it here. Or if you have online, offline activities in store. Now you can also use Facebook sources, people who have watched your video, who have completed your lead generation form, who have shopped on Facebook and Instagram shopping, who engage with your Instagram account, who engage with your Facebook page, things like that. We'll see how in more details as well, but things like that are usually not very much used in terms of small businesses. So it's very important for you to keep your followers or your customers or your ideal customers engaged. So when you create, for example, I took a couple of examples to show you. When create a custom audience and you select Instagram, you'll get to select, for example, people engaged with this account, people who commented or watched the video, and you have something called retention, meaning that let's say I last engaged with your account last year, 365 days ago. After that period of time, I'm no longer part of the custom audience and I'm just removed. So this way you can keep this, you can, it depends on what you're doing. If you want to increase, keep the audience engaged, you can have 30, 60, 90 days retention, but that really depends on why you're setting up the ads. You can have different custom audiences with the same setup and have one for 30 days retention, 60, 90, and more. Okay, so I'm just giving you something for you to know how it works, but then I would really advise you to go and discover the different ways you can create custom audiences and just try and see what fits best for your business. Here also I'm showing you another example of a video engagement customer audience. So you can really go in depth into choosing what video people have seen or more than one video, and decide if you want to include in the audience people who have watched 3 seconds, 10 seconds, or have watched longer. Remember, of course, the longer they watch, the more they are engaged with your business, the more they have brand awareness as well. So you can really go in depth here, depending on what kind of ads you're running as well. Now, usually, depends on what you are doing, but usually these are the most common uses of custom audiences. So you create audience of people who have added to cart but did not complete the purchase. This is called remarketing. You can also do upselling and cross-selling depending on the products that you have. You can upload an email list from your CRM to market exactly to your best customers. You can remarket to people who have downloaded your app but are not using it, or customer data from your point of sale also to market to these people on Facebook. People who have interacted with your page, post or video ads or Instagram to help them move through the funnel. Now, when you upload your custom audience, you can also add filters such as location, demographics, interest, behavior, and connections. This really, let's say you have a custom audience and you want to filter by location because you are I don't know, running specific campaign in a different country. So you can filter by location. You can also, sometimes people use this, but this only makes sense when you have a big list of customers only. If you're running awareness campaign and you want to include people who are already your customers, or you already know you, you can exclude the custom audience that is made from your current customers from your awareness campaigns. Now, custom audience is really the basis for us to look into lookalike audiences. So lookalike audiences are really a list of people to target with advertising who are similar or look like your custom audience. So this way your ads can reach new people who are likely to be interested in your business because they share the similar characteristics to your existing customers. So this is really, for me, a gold mine, because yeah, you get to tell Facebook who your customers are, and they will really look and go and look for people just like them and show them your ads. So this is how it works. So they take information, demographics, the interests, and even the behavior from the source audience that you uploaded to find new people who share similar qualities to target with your ads. Now, when you're setting up the lookalike audience, you of course select the custom audience that you want, and you can select the location where you want the lookalike audience to be. But you also have something that they call audience size. So this is the percent, or if you want, it's a percentage rate. So how closely you want your new audience to match the source audience. So do you want to go broad, or do you want to go specific? So the smaller the percentage, the closer to the match to your custom audience, the higher the percentage, bigger or broader the audience is. So it's from 0 to 10, but it depends on really what kind of ads you're running from this custom audience. So usually for a lookalike audience to be accurate, or at least to work, you need to have a source audience of 1,000, between 1,000 and 5,000 people. So your custom audience should be at least the size for a lookalike to be relevant, so that Facebook analyzes somehow big a group of people and finds people who are similar to them. Now, also the quality of the audience also matters. So if you have a list of contacts that you've built across years, is different than if you have a list of customers that bought from you last month. So it's different whether it could work, it would work, but I also usually recommend it when you do use the source audience as your best customers or your more frequent customers, because it tells exactly Facebook who the ideal customer is for you, so that they will find people who look like them. Now you can create a lot of lookalike audiences from the same source audience. So yeah, once you have the first 1,000, then you can really use it more than once. But it's very important that this source audience has at least 100 people from a single country, so you can use it for a lookalike audience. So if you don't have within 1,000 people 100 from the same country, it's complicated, because it's just it won't work with the Facebook algorithm. So these are my tips for the lookalike audiences. So the key points to remember from this section is that custom audiences can help you move people across the funnel. Most important and most relevant is website activity for me and engagement for e-commerce websites. Lookalike allows you to scale your business based on what you already know about your customers. And it's important to integrate the Facebook pixel that allows you to optimize and track your campaigns. Now, this is the last part before I go into an example and we'll take questions. I spoke a lot, so it will be time for you to ask your question. The last thing I want to talk about is A/B testing. Okay, A/B testing is not usually something that small businesses do, but I wanted to introduce this to you to tell you that this would be the next step as you start growing your business. It would be very useful for you to run A/B testing. A/B testing is when you test different versions of your ads to see which one performs best. Okay, so you'll get to learn a lot about what resonates with your customers and what you need to do more of so you can scale and grow your business. That's the reason I wanted to talk about it today. So how it works, it lets you change one variable in the ad. So you run one ad, you change one variable between the two different format A and format B. It could be that you're, for example, either changing the creative, so the image, either or the audience or the placement to determine which strategy performs best and to improve your future campaigns. For example, let's say this is a topic of conversation within your business, that if you use a custom audience strategy, so people who have engaged with you on Facebook will work better than if you just do targeting that's based on interest. So the only way to compare this is to do an A/B test, because if you run two campaigns, even if they are at the same time, you have different performances, different audiences, and you cannot really compare the two different campaigns. You need to have everything similar in both version A and version B, and have just that one variable that you're testing. So this way, this A/B test lets you quickly compare between which strategy performs best and really put this debate to rest within the company. So you choose a variable you want to test. Facebook will divide your budget equally and randomly divide exposure between each version of your creative or audience or place. This is what allows you to come and say at the end, this ads or this strategy works best, because you can really keep everything equal except the variable itself. Now, when you run the test, you can measure the performance of the strategy either by cost per result. So is it cost per engagement, cost per click, depending on what the campaign is, or cost per conversion lift. So if you have an increased conversion or a decreased conversion based on the variable you're testing. So it would look something like this. You're testing two different campaigns. You set up campaign A and campaign B. Usually you do the setup before, so you set it up in Ads Manager, and then you go to the test section in Ads Manager and you select it here. So you have to have it as a draft before and you upload it here. You have the schedule, you put the name. Name is very important, so you can identify it in your Ads Manager. And at the end, Facebook will tell you, okay, this is the winner, and will tell you exactly how sure they are, because as you know, these are statistics. So how sure they are of the power of this result or of this test. So what can you test with the A/B testing? You can test different audiences. So you can look at the effectiveness on your ads based on your audience you want to reach. You can also, for example, test different regions. You can do creatives variables. So it will focus on the visual aspect. So if you want to test different images, videos, or carousel, you can choose the creative option. You can test different placement. So if, let's say, because that happens a lot, sometimes they would argue if this works better on Facebook or Instagram. This way, you can go back to to your manager or the people you work with and tell them, okay, Facebook works better because I've tested. I ran this A/B testing. I'm not saying Facebook works better. I'm just it was just for the example. You can also test delivery optimization. So there's an option when you run your ads on Ads Manager that you can do budget optimization. So Facebook does this automatically, and that's something you can test. Or you can test more than one variable if you have something more complex to test. But I would say in the beginning, just rely, just do simple A/B testing. Once you get the hang of it, you can see how to develop this sophistication a little bit more. Now, I just wanted to end with a very fun case study. I like it a lot. The main thing I wanted to show you here are the ads visual that they have used. So the brand is called Magic Spoon. So Magic Spoon is a cereal brand, and they used video Facebook ads to increase sales. Okay, so this is as you can see, the colors of the cereals are very appetizing. I hope everyone had dinner or had snack before this session. So basically, this type of cereals are different because they are high in protein and low in carb. So the idea behind the company is that the founders wanted to really have this, this memory of waking up Saturday morning, watching cartoon and eating cereal, but instead of eating the cereal that is completely full of sugar, having a cereal that's more upgraded to what a more modern consumer would want. So what they have is a line of nutritious keto-friendly cereals that look a lot like the sugary childhood favorites that we used to eat, but they are high in protein, low in carbs, and sugar-free. So the goal from this campaign was to increase cereal sales, of course. So what they did is, they wanted to run a campaign that would resonate visually with cereal lovers. Already their cereals are quite colorful, and if targeted well, they would speak to the audience automatically, because everyone has this memory of waking up in the weekend, eating cereal and watching cartoon. So they focus on creating fun ad creatives, like things that are very colorful. You'll see it in a bit. And to focus on making that the messaging of the ad really pops, and to use, of course, Facebook automated campaign features to get all of this to be done in an automatic way without them having to waste a lot of time on setup and things like that. What they did is they used video ads with GIF movements. So they will not show in the slides, but you can imagine how they look. They focused on comparing the Magic Spoon product versus everyone else. They use different visuals to have the different flavors, and they had the text overlay that focused on the most important messages for the audience, which is keto-friendly, high protein, low carbs, and zero sugar. And I also had a click to action button that focused on learn more, driving to the website. And then say shop now, they said learn more, which kind of decreases the friction with new customers, because you're not being sold something, you just told, click here to learn more. So this is how the ads really looked like. So us on the left, that's one example, 12 grams protein, 3 grams carbs, and them on the right with 1 gram protein and 23 grams net carbs. They had also, you can see that the ads are quite visual and quite colorful. You can do something very similar on Canva. It's very easy to do and not require a lot of time as well. Some other designs were focused on testimonials. So you had the same visual with all of the colors of the cereals they had, with customer testimonials. So an adult version of what you loved as a kid without the carbs, sugar, or guilt. I tried 4 flavors and I'm hooked. Keto-friendly cereal that tastes exactly like Fruit Loops. Now, this is in the States, so they can mention competitors in the ads, which is something that might be tricky somewhere else. So their audience for this specific campaign, they focused on a broad audience in the US. So they did not go, that's one, one ad set that focused on a broad audience, age 18 and over, and people who are interested in health, diet, and fitness, of course, because keto is both health and fitness. They also had custom audiences of people who had visited the brand website or made a purchase there before. They also used lookalike audiences with similar characteristics to those who have made the purchase before. They had this campaign running all over Facebook apps and services, so Messenger, Instagram, and everything else. But they also used retargeting dynamic ads. This is the catalog sales I was telling you about earlier, targeting people who had clicked on the Learn More button in the original ads, but did not complete the purchase. So what they were able to see is, as compared to previous campaigns, 2 times lift in purchases compared to previous campaigns, a higher 27-point ad recall, meaning when people were asked after if they remembered the ad, that's one way of doing A/B testing as well. There were higher ad recall with people who saw this campaign, and a 4.6 lift in intent to purchase. Now, in your ads, when you're running your ads, you will not see something like that in terms of a lift. This is very specific to that brand because they had a follow-up survey to see all of these, but you will see purchases, you will see clicks, you will see traffic to your website, all of this. So you will be able to see how much actually results you had from a specific campaign. And that's it. I'm gonna stop here. I thought I had one more slide, but this is it. I'm gonna stop here and really take 1 minute to breathe, but I'll be happy to answer all of your questions now. Checking the questions. Okay. First question from Hamad. Is it possible to create, say, traffic campaign and then, before we get to the questions, it's true. Sorry, Elvira, I forgot about this. We need to, I would ask to complete a small survey with 4 questions, and I'll drink some water in the meantime. Now, during that time, please add all of your questions in the chat. Yes, we are recording the session and we will be sharing it as well, Elisar. The previous recording is in the chat. I will send it to you, but just keep in mind, no, it's uploaded to YouTube, okay. Because usually on Zoom you have 7 days maybe. Sorry, it did not copy. All right. Okay. We're waiting for everyone to complete the survey before we start with the questions, so not to interrupt anyone.
Jennifer, we are done.
Okay. So let me start. So is it possible to create traffic campaign and then come back to create always under it? Yes, as long as the campaign is running on Ads Manager, you can always add more ad sets. You only have to duplicate the ad set and edit what you want to edit. But of course, if the campaign has ended, creating ad set under it, you will have to reactivate it so it starts running. Yeah, you can start with doing the ad sets from the beginning or add it at any point later as well. That's from Hamad. Yasmin asked, what is your opinion on continuously running campaign for a specific audience? Won't there be ad fatigue? Continuously running campaigns will not create ad fatigue unless you don't change the visual that you're promoting. So if you're promoting the same visual, yeah, they will have ad fatigue. They might also report you or say, I don't want to see this ad anymore. This might happen. But if you, as I was saying, if you run a monthly campaign and you change your visual whenever you have a new post that's going on Facebook, then this will not cause ad fatigue. It would also tell Facebook what is working with your audience and what is not working. So Rhea, by the way, also Yasmin, in Ads Manager you have frequency. So when you look at the ads, you can see the frequency of your ads. So you can see how much one person saw, and on average, if you have a frequency of 2 or 3 or 4 showing the same ad to the same people, you can see that. And when you reach a certain number, decide like 2 or 3, decide, for example, I'm turning off this campaign. But if your audience is very specific, then you will always have high frequency. But if your audience is broad, then of course that will be much lower. Rhea is asking, how can Tarisha know that it's the same people seeing the consideration? Yeah, that's a valid point. Before I mentioned custom and lookalike audiences. So once you create custom audiences, you can create people who have seen previous ad and lookalike people who look like your custom audiences. So so I think that answered that. Okay, will we actually take us through the page? Yeah, I can do that. I'll show you that exactly. That's Nina. Mario, I'm sorry, I just saw the message. If I can go back one slide, it should be in the recording anyways. Rhea is asking if we should have 1,000 to 5,000 base in our custom audience, country or lookalike audience. No, the source of the lookalike audience is a custom audience. So your custom audience should have 1,000 to 5,000. Well, it could have more, but at least it should have, this is the minimum. And 100 of them should be in the same country. The rest does not matter. I think that's it. So let's go back to Ads Manager. Okay. So this is how it looks when you first open Ads Manager. As you can see, it's divided between campaigns, ad set, and ads. This is how the structure is, but when you create ads, it takes you through the process automatically. So remember, we've seen awareness, consideration, and conversion. So let's say I'm doing traffic campaigns. You can, of course, name your campaign and add set automatically, but it just also goes automatically here. So I would advise you to name the campaigns because you can refer back to them. This is the auction type I told you about in terms of do not change this. It will automatically do the auction in terms of the lowest cost or the highest result. So this is where you set up A/B testing if you want. If not, this is completely fine at this stage. And you can also do something that's called campaign optimization, If you have different ad sets, automatically Facebook divides your budget, depends on which ad set is performing better. But if you have only one ad, then you just click next and continue to the second level. Remember, the campaign level is when you set up the objective. So we did set up the objective, which is traffic. So you can select the location where you want to send the traffic, either website, app, messenger, WhatsApp, or even a phone call. This will only show on mobile, of course, WhatsApp as well. Dynamic creatives, this is where you can use, this is specific to traffic, but you can use it for catalog sales. You set up the budget here, daily or lifetime, and have a start and end date. Okay, let's say you want to create a new audience. Okay, so you have Canada, age, gender, detailed targeting. That is the interest. Let's say dog owner. Okay, so you click either or you browse depending on demographics, financial, relationship, interest, and things like that. Exclude. This is what I was telling you about earlier. So you can really go in depth here. Now, if you want to use, if you can create audiences and save them, and you can select them from here, or you can find your custom audience or lookalike audiences. I will show you where to create them in a minute. Okay, so manual placement or automatic. So when you click on manual, you can remove Instagram or Messenger, or you can edit whatever you want. So even then, you can select Instagram feed without stories and things like that. Yeah. So it's a long list. Now, optimization is something very specific that I did not really go into details because it depends on the type of campaigns that you're running. But if you're running traffic campaigns, you want to optimize, meaning you want Facebook to find, to focus on finding link clicks, meaning people who go to the website. You can optimize by impression, but it doesn't make sense. You want people in that case to go to your website. Next is where you add, of course, you connect the Facebook page, and if you have an Instagram account, you can, if you're running ads on Instagram, select here. You can create the ad immediately or select something from what's already posted. So single image, carousel, or collection, or you can upload the media here. If you use existing posts, you can go to the page and select the post either from Facebook or Instagram. So let's say I selected something. You can here in the ad preview see how it looks like on different placements. So on the newsfeed, on the stories, and you can really customize the different visuals. So you would change one for the stories because it looks a little bit different on stories because it's a different format. So that's it in terms of setting up the campaign. If you want to duplicate or have different ad sets within one campaign, you can duplicate it here and have a number of copies, 1 or 2 or 3, depending on how much, and then have an ad set within the same campaign to, for example, target different people, different audiences or something. Let me just stop sharing because it starts bugging when I'm sharing.